Welcome to ComfortTV.channel news, bringing you verified and balanced news from Nigeria and around the world. I am Faith Kevin. Thank you for joining us. First, the headlines. OT urges Abia women to join campaign against criminality, illicit drugs. U.S. court jails Osun monarch for $4.2 million COVID-19 relief fraud. Amnesty International condemns fresh charges against Sowore. On the Presidency, Northern Blocs oppose PDP's zoning ticket to the south. On business news, Naira down to 1,550 Naira per dollar in parallel market. On the foreign scene, Israeli forces seize $450,000 terror funds in West Bank raid. And on sports, India faces world football ban for second time in 3 years. Now the news. Abia State Governor Dr. Alex Oti has tasked women on inculcating good values on their children to curb unwholesome behaviors that endanger societal progress. Governor Oti, who spoke at the grand finale of the 2025 Women August meeting held by Abia women in Umuahia, urged them to campaign against the sale and consumption of illicit drugs, desperation for wealth and criminal activities. He said that the women constitute an important stakeholder group and are relied upon to achieve the government's social reorientation targets. He encouraged the women to partner with him to achieve the objectives of his administration, saying that women in agriculture will form 60% beneficiaries of his administration's 2 billion naira agriculture fund. A United States District Court has sentenced the Apetu of Ipetumodu in Osun State, Oba Joseph Oloyede, to 56 months in prison over his involvement in a multi-million-dollar COVID-19 relief fund fraud. According to a statement by the U.S. Attorney Office for the Northern District of Ohio, the sentence was delivered by U.S. District Judge Christopher A. Bokio. Oba Oloyede, 62, who holds dual Nigerian and U.S. citizenship and resides in Medina, Ohio, was also ordered to pay in restitution, forfeit his Medina residence purchased with fraud proceeds, and surrender additional funds seized by investigators. He will also serve 3 years of supervised release after completing his prison term. Prosecutors revealed that between April 2020 and February 2022, Oloyede and his associate Edward Olowusami conspired to exploit emergency loan programs created under the U.S. CARES Act to support businesses affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Amnesty International has condemned the Nigerian authorities for what it calls the relentless harassment and persecution of Omoyele Sowore, a human rights activist and Sahara Reporters publisher. In a statement posted on its X handle, the Global Human Rights Organization criticized the ongoing trial of Sowore on charges of terrorism, financing, money laundering, and fraudulent activities, describing them as baseless and politically motivated attempts to silence him. The statement follows a recent ruling by a federal high court in Abuja, which ordered 6 banks to provide the police with details of bank accounts linked to Sowore and his companies as part of an investigation aimed to alleged terrorism funding and money laundering. It described Sowore's arraignment as another attempt to crack down on his human rights. Nigerian authorities, according to the body, must allow Sowore to freely exercise his human rights, including the rights to freedom of expression, peaceful assembly, and association, Amnesty International stressed. The polity had a foretaste of what to expect in the 2027 presidential elections as the People's Democratic Party's zoning of its presidential ticket to the south is raising dust. Coming against the backdrop of President Bola Tinubu, another southerner being backed by critical blocs of the All Progressives Congress, APC, to stand for re-election on the ruling party's platform means any northerner vying for APC or PDP's presidential flag is on their own. Both the PDP and the APC have argued that their decisions aligned with the 8-year unwritten rule of power rotation between northern and southern Nigeria. Piqued by the development, some northern stakeholders alleged marginalization and vowed to speak against the move with their votes in 2027. warning that the PDP's decision has further weakened its influence in the north. The National Executive Committee, NEC of the PDP, at its 102nd meeting in Abuja, resolved that the South should produce the next presidential candidate of the party. Specifically, the Joint Action Committee of Northern Youth Association, JACON, saw the PDP's decision as unjust, undemocratic, and a betrayal of the North's decades-long loyalty to the party. North Central political stakeholders also rejected the PDP's 2027 zoning template, insisting that the region will not accept continued marginalization in the nation's civilian leadership arrangement since independence. Leader of the Arewa Youth Assembly, Salihu Danlami, said PDP lost the North in its credibility when it abandoned its power rotation principle in 2023 to field former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, breaking what he described as a gentleman's agreement. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has called on stakeholders, including the National Assembly, religious leaders, traditional rulers, and students, to caution the federal government against pushing university teachers to embark on a nationwide strike. The call came on the heels of protests by members of the union across the country, especially in federal government-owned universities. This is just as the union described the decision of the government to offer its members loans as a Greek gift, which according to it is unnecessary if the government paid their dues and entitlements. The government in its immediate response expressed optimism that it would not be allowed to degenerate to a full-blown industrial action. Director of Public Affairs, Federal Ministry of Education, Mrs. Folashade Boriowo, who stated this, said that a delegation of the Federal Ministry of Education to be led by the Minister, Dr. Tunji Alausa, will be meeting with the leaders of the union and that things will be sorted out, noting that nothing will be allowed to get out of hand. However, leading his members on the protest around the campus, University of Lagos Unilag Branch Chairman, Professor Idowu Kende, said the loans are to be guaranteed by the union and it's not necessary. The Government Council of each university should give loans to members based on condition of service. Suspected gunmen launched an attack on Feeling Canada quarters in Sabuar Ungwa area of Katsina Metropolis, where they kidnapped 3 members of a family and in the process shot dead a local vigilante. The incident occurred at about 3 a.m. when assailants stormed the residence of 33-year-old Anas Amadu, abducting him, his 7-month pregnant wife Halimat, and their daughter Jidas Anas. A report by Katsina Post said Halimat is the daughter of a prominent businessman in Katsina State. Correspondents gathered that though there have been attacks across Katsina State, this is the first time in about 2 years the search is being recorded in the capital city. During the attack, a vigilante member identified as Abdullahi Muhammad was shot dead while attempting to render help to the victims against the attackers. The criminals fled the scene before the arrival of security operatives. A family source told newsmen that the bandits in large numbers stormed the couple's residence and abducted them. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has warned Nigerians against the use of falsified batches of the emergency contraceptive pill Posino 2, levonorgestrel 0.75 mg in circulation. The agency in a public alert said the counterfeit versions were detected following a report from the Society for Family Health, SFH. The marketing authorization holder, which confirmed it, did not import the suspect product. NAFDAC explained that the fake contraceptives carry noticeable spelling and labeling errors that distinguish them from the original. According to the agency, the font size of the text on the PIN verification sticker of the fake appears smaller, with the word verify wrongly spelled as verify. On the back of the pack, the fake bears distributed in Nigeria instead of the correct distributed in Nigeria. The genuine Postino 2, according to the agency, is manufactured in February 2023 with an expiry date of February 2027. A police officer attached to the chairman of Bomadi Local Government Council of Delta State, Inspector O.O. Ojonoba of PMF 51, has been shot dead by unidentified gunmen. The officer, popularly known as Ade, was killed in Ugeli North Local Government area of the state while on duty. At the time of the attack, the chairman was said to have traveled to Asaba on official engagement, leaving behind his children with the late officer. The incident occurred in the early hours of the day when the attackers stormed the chairman's residence. Inspector Ojonoba, who was on duty, was reportedly asleep in his lounge when the assailants shot him on the neck. According to sources, the assailants later went through the back of the house where they destroyed burglary protectors and entered through the dining section before proceeding to the children's room. The armed men reportedly fled the scene afterward, leaving residents in shock after the attack. Special Assistant on Security to the Chairman, Mr. Obasanjo Kumur, confirmed the development to journalists. When contacted, the Delta State Police Public Relations Officer, PPRO SP Edafi Bright, said the command was on the trails of the criminals. Edo State Commissioner of Police CP Monday Abonika has confirmed the rescue of the 13 passengers kidnapped by gunmen. The passengers were whisked away by armed men around Ekiadolo of the Benin-Ore Expressway after gunmen attacked the bus they were in. The kidnappers had shot the bus driver and abandoned him beside the bus before marching the victims into surrounding bushes. Earlier, Abonika confirmed the manhunt was on for the kidnappers with special squads, drones and other equipments deployed into the bushes. Social media activist Martins Vincent Otse alias Very Darkman made a video when his vehicle arrived at the scene where the incident took place. In the video, the wounded driver, who lay by the side of the bus with his clothes soaked in blood, was lifted from the ground into the trunk of a Hilux and rushed to the hospital. The senator representing Benue South, Abba Moro, has disclosed that certain individuals are in talks with Peter Obi regarding a possible return to the party ahead of the 2027 elections. Obi, a former PDP member, contested for the presidency under the platform of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections. Speaking to newsmen, Moro hinted that Obi could secure the ticket in the PDP if he chooses to return to the party. Moro's comments comes amid reactions to the PDP zoning its presidential ticket to the south. He said the party had not spoken to Peter Obi yet, and so in the run-up to 2027, he's aware that certain individuals have already been speaking to Peter Obi to come back to the party. ComfortTV.channel news returns shortly with business, foreign and sports news. Stay tuned. Many thanks for staying tuned. On business news, the Naira depreciated to 1,550 Naira per dollar in the parallel market from 1,540 Naira per dollar. Similarly, the Naira depreciated to 1,537 Naira per dollar in the Nigerian foreign exchange market. Data published by the Central Bank of Nigeria showed that the exchange rate for the Naira rose to 1,537 Naira per dollar from 1,536 Naira, indicating 1 kobo depreciation for the Naira. Consequently, the margin between the parallel market and the NFEM rate widened to 13 Naira per dollar from 3 Naira per dollar last week. Propelled by the urgent need to curb rising fraud and safeguard depositors' funds, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) has rolled out a new directive requiring all point-of-sale terminals across the country to be geotagged within 60 days or risk being shut down. In a circular issued, the Apex Bank ordered deposit money banks, fintech operators such as MoneyPoint, OPay, and PalmPay, as well as payment terminal service providers to ensure that every POS device is tied to a specific business location. Under the new regulation, each POS terminal must be equipped with GPS functionality and connected to the National Central Switch through a software development kit (SDK). This will allow regulators to verify the exact coordinates of every transaction. Merchants will only be able to process payments within a 10-meter radius of their registered business address. Any terminal that is not geotagged before October 20, 2025 compliance deadline will be disabled. In the foreign news, Israeli police said that security forces seized roughly 1.5 million shekels of terror funds during a raid in the occupied West Bank, approximately $447,000. Israeli forces targeted a currency exchange in Ramallah, leaving dozens of Palestinians wounded. Israel carries out frequent raids across the West Bank, where tensions have remained high throughout the Gaza war. But incursions into central Ramallah, the seat of Palestinian Authority, are relatively rare. A statement from a police spokesman said Israeli border police and the military raided the money exchange business that was used to transfer funds to the Hamas terror organization. Forces seized significant sums of money in both foreign and local currency, with a total value of approximately 1,528,832 shekels, including US dollars, Jordanian dinars, euros, and other foreign currencies. US President Donald Trump will host a meeting on post-war plans for Gaza. Trump stunned the world earlier this year when he suggested the United States should take control of the Gaza Strip, clear out its 2 million inhabitants, and build seaside real estate. Trump said the United States will remove rubble and unexploded bombs and turn Gaza into the Riviera of the Middle East. Floods and landslides triggered by heavy rains have killed at least 30 people in India's Himalayan region of Jammu and Kashmir, officials and local media said. An intense monsoon rainstorm in the Indian-administered territory has caused widespread chaos, with raging waters smashing into bridges and swamping homes. According to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, it said the loss of life was saddening. Climate experts from the Himalayan-focused International Center for Integrated Mountain Development, ACMOD, warns that the spate of disasters illustrates the dangers when extreme rain combines with mountain slopes weakened by melting permafrost and building development in flood-prone valleys. And on sports, India could be banned from world football for the second time in 3 years after FIFA and the Asian governing body demanded it implement a new constitution by October 30 or risk suspension. World governing body FIFA and the Asian Football Confederation sent a joint letter to the All India Football Federation President Kalyan Chobe expressing profound concern at the continued failure to finalize and adopt the constitution. A suspension will mean India's national teams and clubs being barred from all international competitions. FIFA previously suspended India in August 2022 for third-party influence after the Supreme Court appointed a committee of administrators to run the AIFF. Nigeria's preparations for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers have been dealt a blow after first-choice goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali sustained an injury while playing for Chippa United. The 29-year-old was stretchered off during the first half of the league match against Richards Bay, visibly in pain after going down. The extent of the injury remains unclear as Chippa's United medical team continues to assess his condition. However, the timing is worrying for Nigeria as Nwabali is expected to play a key role in next month's qualifiers against Rwanda and South Africa. His injury comes at a time when Nigeria already has a goalkeeper crisis, with Maduka Okoye unavailable due to a 2-month suspension for illegal betting activities. That leaves Nigeria with limited options. Amaso Basoge, who plays in Tanzania, has never featured for the national team. Adebayo Adele, currently with Greek club Volos NPS, has only one appearance to his name. There is also 15-year-old Ebenezer Harcourt, a first-time call-up, who impressed at the Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations earlier this year, but he is not expected to start in such high-stake matches. And that's our news bulletin for today. But before we go, here is a recap of our top stories. OT urges Abia women to join campaign against criminality and illicit drugs. U.S. court jails Osun Monarch for $4.2 million COVID-19 relief fraud. Amnesty International condemns fresh charges against Sowore. On business, Naira down to 1,550 Naira per dollar in parallel market. On the foreign scene, Israeli forces seize $450,000 terror funds in West Bank raid. And on sports, India faces world football ban for second time in 3 years. Thanks for watching. For breaking news, exclusive interviews, and more, follow us online at ComfortTV.channel on all platforms. Remember to like and share our videos, subscribe to our channel, and click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any updates. I am Faith Kevin. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed.